did you know anything about Cabrini-Green before you got the parts in this movie? Had you ever heard Cabrini-Green?
I personally haven't, and I especially hadn't heard anything about the tragic shooting of Cabrini.
Yeah.
Um, I never, I haven't grown up around that time or, you know, never actually experienced what they went through. But I watch documentaries on YouTube and I watch certain events that happened during that time. So yeah, I knew pretty much about it before we began to film.
It was really challenging. That was one of the challenging aspects of the film, was that it's set in a time and a place that doesn't exist anymore. The high rises are all gone. So we built a stage. Our production designer, actually, who was here, Marie Vesky, she found a blueprint for a Cabrini-Green apartment, and we rebuilt it on a stage. And so all the interiors were shot in there. And then the exteriors, we found so many locations throughout the city that helped us sort of match what the exteriors would have been in 1992.
In Cabrini-Green, it don't matter how old you are, how much money you got, how big or tall, or small. What do you call 3 trees? What? A trio. You ever think about what it would be like outside of here? Wow, this is where we from.
Well, Minhal probably told you a little bit about it so that she would get the performances out of you that she wanted. What kinds of things did she tell you that made an impact?
She told me about the shooting of Dancho Davis. I mean, I knew about it beforehand, but her reminding me, it helped me a little bit as well, so it could freshen my mind for that moment.
She told us about our characters and stuff like that. And I had already read about mine, before we started filming, when I was reading the script, and I felt like me and Malik had a lot in common, a lot of similarities. So, I feel like that made filming a little bit easier.
I was interested in exploring what home meant to people, and I was reminded of Cabrini-Green because the last of the towers was demolished in 2011. And I got put in touch with former Cabrini-Green residents. I started interviewing them. That process started about 5 years ago. And then over those years, a story started to emerge, one that was really different than one I'd read and heard about. It was a story about families and the incredible resilience that they had in the face of adversity. And I was interested in exploring it from the perspective of kids.
What did you do to get some kind of interaction between the two of you, or some kind of relationship? Did you do any reading with each other or hanging out together?
Oh yes, ma'am. We did, rehearse. We did a lot of rehearsals leading up to the shoot. We would hang out outside of filming sometimes. We played basketball. Just building chemistry. Because, when you have two friends like Malik and Erik who haven't been separated since birth, they've been close like that. You have to, have some kind of connection in real life. So
What was the most fun scene to shoot in the movie? I'm going to guess it was probably jumping and flying through the air on outside the building. But you tell me, what was the most favorite part of the shoot for you?
I completely agree with you. That was exciting, that part right there.
Yeah, flying through the air.
How many takes?
How many takes? Wow. That question, it takes a lot of takes to do a scene. And coming into acting, I had like no idea how how things like that, like filming stuff like that would work. I certainly had no idea like how many, like it would take like a whole day to film like one scene and stuff like that. And how many takes you would do it repetitively. I feel like that's a talent that doesn't get talked about enough in the acting industry, is like being able to bring like, emotion or whatever you have to bring to your character repetitively multiple times, back to back to back like that.
There's a very scary scene in this in the movie when the police come into your apartment and they go through everything in your apartment.
That was a really emotional day. And to like, you know, think of like that actually happened, you know, to people back then in the Cabrini-Green projects. That was also pretty scary to think about, I would say.
That scene where the police, you know, raided into Malik's house, it made me realize, like, you know, people actually they actually had to, you know, experience this. And you know, it's so crazy to just imagine daily people would have, you know, their kids dying. They will have to go through things I could never relate to.
Did you, now I understand that Minhal had you in a certain jacket all the time. That kind of got you into character. Did that help?
Yeah, actually, I've always wanted to wear like a 90s style of clothing. Like, I have a lot of clothes with like color, but sometimes they're neutral. But I've never really worn any like, you know, old school type of clothes. I feel like that was a new style introduced to me.
And pretty cool. Pretty cool, huh?
Yeah.
And Blake, every day you'd wear that jacket, but Minal wouldn't let you keep the jacket and take it home at night, right?
No, sir, they wanted. I feel like you know, the wardrobe part, you know, the clothing that you put on, like that your characters have, is a big part of getting into character. You know, the wardrobe, what do I call it? Like the wardrobe section, the wardrobe people, like they don't get enough. They don't get enough. They don't get enough.
Credit.
Shoot, what am I trying to say?
They get enough credit?
Yeah, that
Enough
wardrobe
credit. They don't get enough credit.
Yeah, the wardrobe department they're important.
They keep
Yes,
you
sir, for sure. Sorry.
great times. Right. So was this a good experience for both of you?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, yeah. I feel like it it was a learning moment for me, and it was just the realization of, you know, what actually happened, but before I was even born into life, you know.
Yeah, the Cabrini-Green was actually torn down the year you were born.
Yeah, I know. I had realized that when I seen the credits.
Well, yeah, exactly. Well, guys, thank you very much. We really appreciate having a chance to talk to you guys.
Yes.
And we look forward to seeing you and all the great things you're going to do in the years to come. So good for you guys.
Yep.
Thank you.
Good job.
Thank you for interviewing us.
All right. Take
Take care, guys.
Bye-bye.
See you.